What if you've been taught to be harmless on purpose? What if all those lessons about being kind, agreeable, understanding, they weren't designed to make you stronger? They were meant to make you manageable. Look around. The people who are respected the most, do they beg for approval? Do they constantly explain themselves? Do they make themselves small just to keep others comfortable? Number. They walk into a room and the air changes. People adjust themselves around them, not the other way around. You've been fed a lie. The lie that being nice earns you respect, that keeping the peace earns you power, that if you're fair, the world will be fair in return. Machiavelli didn't buy that. In fact, he warned against it. He once said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose." Now, don't confuse this with cruelty. This isn't about being vicious. It's about being calculated. He wasn't advocating evil. He was offering clarity. Cold, sharp, brutal clarity. The kind that burns away illusions. See, people don't move for the agreeable. They move for the unshakable, the unreadable, the one they don't want to test. Because deep down, they don't respect weakness, even when it's wrapped in politeness. They fear power. And that fear becomes a kind of respect you can't manufacture with smiles and compliance. The real world doesn't reward softness. It rewards strength disguised as stillness. You've been told to be easy to read, quick to forgive, and afraid to offend. But Machiavelli would look you dead in the eye and say, "You are being trained to be prey." So ask yourself, how long will you keep playing the role they wrote for you? What if I told you the very traits you were praised for since childhood, kindness, patience, being nice, are the very chains keeping you weak? Sounds uncomfortable, doesn't it? But that's exactly the lie you've been living. You were never taught to be strong. You were trained to be manageable. Now look around. Who really commands respect? It's not the ones always smiling, always apologizing, always seeking peace. It's the ones who walk into a room and suddenly everyone else adjusts their tone. Their silence feels heavier than another man's shouting. Their presence alone forces calculation. And here's the hard truth. You could be that person, but you've been conditioned to believe power comes from being liked. It doesn't. Power comes from being feared strategically, quietly, ruthlessly. And that fear? It's not chaos, it's not cruelty, it's control. In this video, I'm going to reveal the one Machiavelli tactic that flips your script forever. By the time you reach the end, you'll see exactly how to stop being prey and start becoming the person others never dare to cross. But here's the catch, miss even a second, and you'll stay blind to the very thing that's been holding you back your whole life. So ask yourself, are you ready to keep playing small, or are you finally ready to become the most feared person in the room? Quickly drop a comment and tell us which mobile you're watching this video on. We'll see which one has the majority. And don't forget to subscribe, because your support means a lot. May God bless you with great success. Now let's begin the video. Fear is not the enemy. Uncontrolled fear is. Most people flinch when they hear the word. They think of tyrants, abusers, dictators. But fear, true, controlled fear, is not chaos. It's precision. And when used with restraint, it becomes one of the most powerful tools you'll ever possess. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He didn't say, be cruel. He said, be feared, but with control. There's a difference between being feared and being hated. Hated men fall. Feared men rule. Think of fear as a temperature. Too hot and you burn everything down. Too cold and no one takes you seriously. But get it just right, and suddenly people start thinking twice before they cross you. Controlled fear makes people question your limits. It keeps them just uncertain enough not to test them. That's why the most dangerous people in any room are rarely loud. They don't need to prove anything. Their presence alone makes people recalculate what they were about to say. And in offices, in negotiations, in social circles, controlled fear turns you into a presence, not just a participant. You become the one everyone considers before they act. Do you understand how powerful that is? It's not about shouting. It's about silence that stings. It's not about threats. It's about a look that says, I don't play by your rules. It's not about conflict. It's about the possibility of conflict, one that people don't want to invite. Because once someone believes you could destroy them if you wanted to, they no longer care how nice you are. They care how close they are to the edge. That's the sweet spot. Fear doesn't have to be loud. In fact, the best kind rarely is. It's subtle, sophisticated, strategic. So the next time you walk into a room, don't aim to be liked, aim to be remembered. Because when people fear disappointing you, losing you, or crossing you, that's not just power, that's control. The most feared person in the room is never the loudest. It's the one no one can figure out. People don't fear what they understand, they fear what they can't predict. That's why unreadability is not just a tactic, it's a weapon. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you truly are." Most people walk around broadcasting who they are. They overshare, they overreact. They make themselves transparent, hoping to be accepted. But transparency makes you vulnerable. And when people can read you, they can control you. The unreadable person, though, they're a mirror. They reflect everything around them, smiling when others smile, nodding when others talk. But inside, they're calculating, waiting, learning. This is the mirror technique. Let them speak. Let them reveal themselves. Let them assume you're just like them. And when they think they've mapped you out, that's when you move. See, mystery creates tension, and tension is power. When people don't know what you're thinking, they become cautious. They tiptoe. They imagine possibilities, most of them worse than reality. That's how you gain control without ever raising your voice. In every interaction, you have a choice. Be known or be powerful. And here's the truth no one tells you. Once people understand you, they start managing you. They know what buttons to push, what words trigger a reaction, what topics make you spiral. But if you give them nothing, you become untouchable. They can't predict you, they can't box you in. And the human brain hates uncertainty more than almost anything else. It fills in the blanks, and it usually fills them with fear. Let them project, let them doubt, let them wonder what's really going on in his head. That question alone keeps you 10 steps ahead. So become the question no one can answer, the riddle no one solves, the mirror no one dares stare into too long. Because the moment they stop trying to control you, they start fearing what you might do next. Attachment makes you predictable. Predictability makes you weak. Most people are emotional hostages, reacting to every insult, every compliment, every shift in tone like it's life or death. They crave validation. They fear rejection. They need to be understood. And that need is what controls them. But detachment is dangerous. Because the one who feels least controls most. When you stop needing everyone to like you, approve of you, explain themselves to you, you become something rare, something unsettling. Machiavelli didn't teach cruelty. He taught power. And one of the greatest forms of power is to remain calm while everyone else is burning. Think about it. Two people argue. One screams, defends, explains. The other watches in silence, measured, unreadable, still. Who holds the power? The calm one. Because calmness isn't weakness, it's control, and control is fearsome. People don't fear your rage. Rage is loud, it's impulsive, it's messy, but your silence, your stillness, that terrifies them. Why? Because silence implies thought. It implies depth. It implies calculation. Most people react immediately. They fire back, they defend, but you do nothing. And in that nothingness, they panic. They start filling in the silence, justifying themselves, overthinking, apologizing, doubting, and you're already 10 steps ahead, watching the strings they don't even know they're pulling. That's what emotional detachment gives you. Distance. And distance gives you clarity. You stop confusing noise with truth. You stop engaging in battles that don't deserve your energy. You stop needing to win arguments because you've already won the only one that matters. The war within yourself. Once you no longer fear being misunderstood, ignored, disliked, you become something people can't shake. You become stable in a world of chaos, unmoved, unbothered, untouchable. And when they realize they can't affect you, that's when the fear sets in. Because people don't fear the one who shouts. They fear the one who doesn't need to speak at all. Silence isn't the absence of power. It is power. Most people are terrified of silence. In conversation, in conflict, in negotiation, silence is a vacuum, and they rush to fill it with apologies, with explanations, with weakness. But not you. You'll learn to sit in that silence, to own it, to turn it into your weapon. Because when used with precision, silence does more damage than any insult ever could. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to guess. It creates a space they don't know how to control. And in that space, you rise. Machiavelli didn't speak of timing like a poet. He spoke of it like a hunter. Every moment matters, every pause is calculated. You don't respond immediately, you don't rush to answer. You let the moment hang just long enough for them to wonder what you're thinking, just long enough for them to hear their own words echo back. You break expectations. When they expect resistance, you offer calm. When they expect approval, you offer neutrality. And when they expect a reaction, you give them silence. Suddenly, you're not following their rhythm, you're forcing them into yours. Understand this. People fear what they can't read, and nothing is harder to read than silence timed perfectly. Strategic delay sends a signal. I'm not reacting to your world. You're reacting to mine. That's what predators do. They watch. They wait. And when they strike, it's never loud, but it's always lethal. So stop rushing to fill the space. Let silence speak for you, because when you stop trying to be heard, you start being noticed. And the quietest person in the room is often the one everyone's secretly watching. Morality is not what you think it is. You were taught that morality is about right and wrong, about fairness, about being good. But in the real world, morality is a game, a system, a tool. And often it's not used to elevate the righteous, but to control the obedient. Look closely. In workplaces, people weaponize professionalism to silence honesty. In relationships, they use guilt to make you comply. In society, they praise sacrifice as long as it's yours. This isn't virtue, it's manipulation wrapped in ethics. And Machiavelli saw it centuries ago. He didn't reject morality, he understood it. He decoded how it was used not by saints, but by strategists. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit: people don't always push moral rules because they believe in them. They push them because they benefit from them. Think about it. Who profits when you're always the one who forgives? Who gains when you're always the one who bends? Who stays in power when you're too busy trying to be the better person? Exactly. Morality becomes a leash when you don't question who's holding the other end. That's not to say abandon your values. It means own them. Use them intentionally, not as reflex, but as strategy. Sometimes the most moral thing you can do is not play the role others assign you. You don't owe anyone your weakness, your guilt, your compliance, just because they've dressed it up as what's right. When you start seeing morality for what it often is, a social lever, you stop being a puppet. You become the one pulling strings. And in a room full of people desperate to look good, the one who's willing to think clearly, ruthlessly, strategically, that's the one who becomes untouchable. Because when you're no longer trapped by the illusion of morality, you finally start playing to win. Influence isn't about forcing people to follow you. It's about making them fear what happens if they lose you. This is the final Machiavellian tactic: strategic dependency. You don't manipulate through pressure. You manipulate through value. You become so useful, so insightful, so stabilizing that people build part of their lives around your presence. Then you teach them quietly, calmly, what it feels like when that presence disappears. Most people give everything up front. They over-deliver, over-explain, over-commit. And in doing so, they become replaceable. But power lies in controlled generosity. You help, but only just enough. You listen, but never reveal too much. You show up, but always on your terms. This scarcity makes you addictive. People start to rely on your approval, your insight, your attention. And once they do, the fear sets in, because they know deep down that you can walk away at any moment, and they can't. That's the ultimate leverage. When someone needs what only you can give and fears what only you can take away, you've crossed into real influence. You don't need to shout. You don't need to fight. You just let them feel the chill of distance and watch how quickly they try to pull you back in. Because once you're both needed and feared, you're not just present, you're powerful. You weren't born to be agreeable. You were born to be effective. You were never meant to play by rules written to keep you small. You were made to see the system, decode it, and rise above it. Not by being cruel, but by being clear. Because the world doesn't fear the loud, it fears the focused, it fears the calm. It fears the one who plays the game without being played. So the question isn't, will they like you? It's, will they dare to cross you? And that's the real power. If this message struck a chord, good. That means you're not here by accident. You're done playing small. You're done being predictable. So if you're ready to unlock the darker layers of human behavior, to master power, perception, and psychological control? Subscribe now, because this isn't just another channel. This is where leaders are forged, masks are ripped off, and the game finally starts making sense. Welcome to your awakening. Right now, there are 2 videos on your screen handpicked just for you. Click to watch them. I'm sure you'll love every second.